Hi everybody, this is Mr. Schmidt again, hoping to help you with a new math video. This one is going to cover solving equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. And what's important before we start is the both sides of the equal sign piece. Before this video, I'm hoping that you have already seen two-step equations here on the left, problems with the distributive property here on the left as well in green. And then finally, combining like terms, okay? So if you have 2y and 3y, these would combine together to be negative 1y equals positive 6. If you have not seen either of these or any of these skills before, when you're done with this video, I would contact your teacher and let them know that you had not seen the review portion before, okay? For the rest of the video, I'm going to assume that these three things you've at least seen before, so we are ready to move on, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing my webcam, and we are going to get started. Before we really dive into examples, whoops, that just disappeared. Before we dive into examples here, I want to make sure that we remember that you do equations every single day of your life, but you don't write them down, okay? Very few times are you going to be going to the grocery store and you're going to write 2x minus 8 equals 16 as you try to figure out the solution to which thing is cheaper. However, you will definitely go to the store and you're going to see, boxes of noodles that are at different prices, and you want to figure out which box is cheapest. You also might be going to a carnival and there are different ticket options, and each ticket option means the tickets are going to cost different amounts and you want to get the best bang for your buck. Or maybe you're just saving up for that big purchase that you're hoping to buy in a 3 or 4 weeks, and you've got to figure out how much you save each month. All of these are equations. Even if you don't write the equation out by hand, you are still doing the mathematics of solving equations to figure them out. So remember, as we're doing these problems, you are doing equations each and every day of your life. So a couple things to remember as we work through a few problems. We're going to do 2 reviews here. So this first review, I always tell my students to put a line down the equal sign to help them figure out to balance their equation. Because our step 1 here is we are going to be subtracting 8 from both sides, because positive 8 and negative 8 together are equal to 0. Now, I don't reset the 0 down here. Instead, I just write 2n, because that's what's left here on the left side. And on the right side, 10 minus 8 is equal to positive 2. From this point, I ask myself, what are the 2 and the n doing to each other? In this case, they are multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 1 divided by 1 is 1n. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You could also just write this as n equals 1. Both of these answers down here at the bottom are correct, and it just depends on what your teacher prefers. Let's do one more review here on the right. This one includes the distributive property, something that you might see a little bit of. The distributive property means that this 3 is multiplying times each of the terms inside of the parentheses. So I'm going to multiply 3 times each of these terms. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. And finally, negative 18 stays on the right side because we didn't distribute there. We draw our line down our equal sign. And once again, we do the same thing we did before. We're going to add 18 to both sides to create 0 here. And we add 18 over here. Now, this problem's a little bit unique because 3x is equal to 0 because negative 18, positive 18 combine to create 0. I still just divide by 3, and I get 1x equals 0 or I get x equals 0 as well. Like I said, either one of these answers is totally fine. It just depends on what your teacher prefers. And that is the review that I'm hoping you've seen before as we get into the harder problems. Okay? So let's do an equation where we have variables on both sides. So for this equation, we have 3x over here, and we have 5x over here. And in order for our problem to be correct, we have to get the 3x and the 5x on the same side, which means we need to create a 0 on one of these two sides. I'm just going to create a 0, by subtracting 3x from both sides, because 3x minus 3x is 0. Well, I need to make sure the x's go with the x's. So I'm going to subtract 3x here. And now I just simplify like I've always done. On the left side, this is a 0, so it's gone. So I only have positive 8 left. And on the right side, I have positive 2x minus 12. And now from here, this is exactly the same as what you have been solving up to this point. So I'm going to go a little bit quick through this one. I get 20 equals 2x. I divide by 2. And I get 10 is equal to 1x. Okay? Now, someone might ask the question, well, what if I wanted to get rid of the 5x instead of the 3x? Does that end up being the same answer when I'm done? And it does, because if I subtract 5x from both sides, I end up getting negative 2x plus 8 is equal to negative 12. And from here, I just simply subtract 8, and I get negative 2x equals negative 20. And if I divide, I end up getting a positive number, and it's correct. The only thing that matters is that if you are moving the variables left, you need to move the numbers right. Or if you're moving the variables to the right, you need to then move the numbers to the left. We just need the x's and the numbers to be on opposite sides of the equal sign when we're done. Okay? And now something that I push to my students all the time is check your answer. It's very, very important to check your answer, because this is how you know you're correct. And the check, all you do is you take this for your x. So our x is equal to 10. And I substitute that into the original problem. So I do 3 times 10 plus 8, because it was 3x plus 8. That's equal to 5 times 10 minus 12. And I want these two sides of the equal sign to be the same. The left side is 30 plus 8, and the right side is 50 minus 12, which means both sides give me an answer of 38, which means our check is correct and our equation has to be true. Okay, so our answer of x equals negative 10 has to be correct because our check gave us a true statement. Let's do one more example before we let you go. So I have 3y plus 40 is equal to 5y plus 20. This time, I'm going to subtract the y's to the left side, and I'm going to move the numbers to the right side. But once again, you can do it either direction. I subtract, 5y. Make sure the y's go with the y's here. And I get negative 2y plus 40 is equal to 20. From here, I need to move that 40 to the right. The opposite of positive 40 is negative 40. And I get negative 2y on the left side and I get negative 20 on the right side. From here, I just divide by negative 2, and I get y is equal to positive 10, which this is a very similar problem to the one that we just did, which is okay. But the reason why I wanted to pick this problem again is because this is an equation that matches a story problem. Two bike rental shops in Portland are right next to each other. One costs $3 up front, but has a $40 fee. The other one costs $5 up front, or sorry, $5 per hour, and has a $20 fee. When do they cost the same? And we solve down here for 10, which means at 10 hours, they cost the same. And we're going to do a lot more in your mathematical career of taking real world story problems and turning them into equations. But for now, I just want you to know that when we create an equation, there is a real world situation that matches it, even if we can't think of it immediately off the top of our head. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.